that we need in order to change how we think and live. I want to welcome all of you who's joining us now to the live broadcast. I'm Brother Malcolm coming to you live now from the Enlightenism Zone. Welcome all of you to another phase of the broadcast, the live broadcast. This will be available on all of the social media platforms today. On Sundays, Sister Carol and I deal with a different perspective on consciousness and the greater power of God within than we do during the week. On Sunday, we place a lot of emphasis on spirituality. A spirituality that is different from generational beliefs and values. It's different. It's a way to think and live. It's an understanding of power itself. It's understanding how to change how you think and live. The power to overcome what others have taught us is what this broadcast is about. It's what, and I shouldn't say the broadcast, it's what the philosophy of Enlightenism is about. The greater power of God exists within you as consciousness. What we are doing with Enlightenism is to say very clearly, God is not separated from you. You have separated yourself from God. The greater power of God in you, the God consciousness. We have separated ourselves when we believe in the things that other people have taught us about how to live in the world. The things that we have been taught began to take on a reality. They become real. They seem to have been divinely created. So philosophy and psychology and sociology, for example, and religion, all seem to have been magically or divinely created by an unknown power that people refer to as God. So they're talking about it as if it's divine. But in reality, it was all created by human beings. And we have created things about and beliefs how to live in this world. And we have created a strange relationship between the power within, which is the God consciousness, and the power outside of us, which is the toxic, illusory power. That's the one that we have spent our lives cultivating. Our parents directed us toward beliefs and values that they had learned from others. I call this generational toxicity. In other words, something is passed on from one generation to the next. And that's how countries and societies sustain themselves, by passing on information from one generation to the next, with the expectation that the new generation will do better than the older generation. And we know that usually does not happen in terms of spirituality. When you want to know something about yourself, where do you go? Where do you look to find something about yourself? If God is far away from you, in an unknown place in the universe that we call heaven, then God is not close to you. So you have to have some form of communication. Even with the beliefs that other people have told you about the God of the universe that's away from you. And the way to communicate was through prayer. And that we would be able, the 8 billion people, however many people on this planet, could all send out a prayer to this power that's in the universe. And this power would hear our prayers. And hopefully respond in the way that we want a response to come, a reply to come. When we deal with understanding it's moving closer, that it's a different type of relationship, it's a relationship where you, the person that is praying, you must move closer to the power yourself. And discover for yourself, why is God separated from you? Why do you believe that you must struggle to be one with the power that created you. Well, we're not struggling in Enlightenism. Struggle comes from lack, limitation, and struggle. See, lack and limitation causes people to struggle. You lack freedom. Somebody wakes up one day and said, I want to be free. What is freedom? What is freedom? Someone asked me that the other day. I said, Enlightenism is my work. Freedom is my goal. Now, what freedom means to someone could be different interpretations. Someone may think that freedom means getting out of prison, or freedom means the ability to go where you want to go. Freedom means having certain societal rights that make you feel that you're free, that you can go from one place to the next without someone imposing restrictions on your freedom or your movement. I'm talking about freedom of generational toxicity. That's the freedom I'm talking about. I'm talking about the freedom where you can go on the road within you to travel in consciousness so that you will understand that everyone who has been struggling for something is struggling for something outside. When you hear people talk about the struggle, it's for things outside. They want to make things better in the outside world. They want something to be better in society. They want something. Or law change, the speed limit, racism, institutions to change, religions. You want something outside. And that's where the struggle comes. Because it's not natural to struggle. Your natural awareness of being in the consciousness within is to feel whole, perfect, and complete. You're not of some color, that someone is defined for you. You're color, faceless, and formless. That's what consciousness is. I am treating consciousness that is within you as being the God that has been absent from all of our lives. That the power has always been in you, but the struggle to be someone else other than who you were divinely created to be is where all the pain and suffering comes into your life. Enlightenism is to overcome the pain and suffering from generational beliefs so that you're in a better position to understand that you have power and the power is not separating from you. So in a sense, Enlightenism is bringing you closer to the power and clarity that's in you. It's not about a job. See, jobs and things are outside of you. People get upset about all kinds of things. I know that I do. Sometimes when I forget that I'm working inside and not outside, I'll revert back sometime to moments where I'm dealing with toxicity as if it's real. And when that happens, I feel the pain all over again. But then I realize it is because I have allowed my mind to drift out of the power within me and go into the lack and limitation that's outside of me. Then I feel like I'm powerless in a certain situation. But I have the ability to get back into the wholeness within myself by understanding what I'm doing. When we understand what we're doing and how we're living, then we can create a new image of ourselves living with power and clarity. We're not born, you're not born to be a slave. No one is born to be a slave. None of the great powers that are within you, all of the consciousness connects us with the 8 billion people on this planet. You're not a slave. No one's born a slave. You have to be taught to be a slave. You have to be taught to believe that you are less than someone else. You have to be taught to believe that the environment that you're in is not satisfying to you. You have to be taught that there's something wrong with it. But if you're not taught about this, then you don't know about it. There is nothing else to compare yourself to. But when you stop comparing yourself to others and comparing yourself to what you have heard about what other people have talked about in the past, then you get to freedom of mind. Then you're on the inward journey. See, I had conversations with people quite frequently. I spent a lot of time discussing things with myself, with Sister Carolyn, with others. And then you realize when you're talking to yourself and with others, that if you're unaware of this power that I am talking about, then you're unaware of a lot of things that's happening in your life in the external world. So you may think that you're poor. You may think that you're wealthy. But it's only an interpretation about yourself. But who are you aware of being today? And what is your relationship with God? The greater power or the legacy God, the generational God that you've heard about? Are you struggling? Are you a victim of racism, deception, and illusions? Are you caught up in all of the hoopla of believing that something in society is going to change to make your life better? That you have a lot of apprehension about things that are happening outside of you? Because that's the way, folks, we have been trained to think of ourselves, of living outside. Enlightenism and living inside. And inside, to use this phrase, you're safe. You are safe inside of yourself. You don't feel like you're a victim. You don't feel like all of these things outside of you are going to impact you. You understand you have the power and clarity to know that there is nothing outside of you that can free you from what you have learned outside. Freedom must come from a new place that has been unknown to you. If you've lived in the ghetto all of your life, and then you get out of the ghetto because you may have acquired education and wealth and so forth, but you still have the memories of the ghetto in you. And what you carry forth with you is the misinterpretation and misconception of yourself being someone who is still a victim. No matter how much money someone has, you know, they don't lose their blackness. To use this as an example. So I heard a story a few years ago about Oprah being in a foreign country, somewhere over in Switzerland, visiting Tina Turner. I read about it, don't know about it. And she felt in a department store that the people were ignoring her because of her color, her race. In a foreign country now, with billions of dollars. Why? Ask yourself, why does she feel this way? Because when we don't overcome what we have been taught about ourselves, money and education cannot change the awareness of being that you have embodied from the outside world about who you are. And no matter where you are and whatever you achieve, you're still comparing yourself to being the person that the outside world created you to be. And Enlightenism is to create a new way to think and live. It's a new way that you transcend the beliefs that you have about your race and color and other things. And then you're in a better position. And when you do, you're in a better position. You're never the victim, but you're always the victim. Always the victim when you have embodied beliefs and values from others about who you are. Always the victim, folks. You don't care what you get. See, it doesn't matter what anyone gets or what anyone achieves. The greatness of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., for example, that I read about. The greatness of the things that he was attempting to do. He was still considered black. And everyone thought he was black and accepted that he was a victim. Not that he had freed his mind of victimization. They looked at the person and said the person is black. Barack Obama was black president. I'm saying all of these things to illustrate the point. Unless you change your perception of yourself to believe and understand and affirm that you can get self-acquired knowledge about the God within you, the greater power of God existing within you in consciousness, then you're forever plagued, imprisoned in a mind that is still relying on things outside of you to define who you are. And in using things outside of you, you're always going to be a victim of the things that you're depending on. Freedom, power, and clarity comes from within. You don't need to know anything about what's happening in the world. What you need to know something about is what's happening in you. See, what's happening in you is your world. This is what you're living in. This is what your world is in you. Not outside of you. What is outside of you is not your world. It's what you think about things you see. The trees don't belong to you. And neither do the people. We just like to believe that we control people. We've been doing it for a long time. But what I am talking about with Enlightenism is self-acquired direct knowledge of the greater power of God existing in you as consciousness. Plain and simple. And you are living in this moment where you can say, I am whole, perfect, and complete. I am greater than the person that I believed I was when I was depending on information from someone else to define me. I define myself now as having the greater power within me. My freedom comes from the power within me. I am not, you can say to people, I am no longer a victim. I am greater than the beliefs about race, color, gender, age, religion, status, and everything. Tune back to these broadcasts. Just say Brother Malcolm Keller's Enlightenism Insights. It'll take you where you need to be to hear the information, folks, about Enlightenism. It is real. It's in the world. And I'm Brother Malcolm, continuing on the path to Enlightenism. Have a great day, folks.